Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Beastmen led by Harrison facing off against the Greenskins and Toxic Cows here on the Eastern Isle Colony, and it is going to be a big old shielded black orc build, which I love. Also some other cool mind games, going for the Crooked Moon banner here and bringing in only Orc Army. That's kind of an OG thing. Back on the latter days of Warhammer 1, Warhammer 2, Greenskin players would often load in and want to be like, hey, I want my army to or my banner to match the flavor of my army when I'm going Mass Goblin. So you would kind of give away your lord. Like same thing with Warriors of Chaos. When Valkia and the Champions of Chaos first came around, you would often see people pick like the Valkia banner, then go Valkia. But then people started to get the mind games going, and then basically pick the Fecundites and then go for like Valkia or like Village or something. But anyways, Shield Black Orcs, pretty solid in this matchup. I mean, they are going to run into problems with Butchers of Kalkengard and Razorgores and Bestigores, but honestly, even against like those units, they have such high stats and good damage output, they can hold their own. Their probably worst trade would be Bestigores with the Great Weapons. That might be tricky, but going to be Shielded Blorks. There's going to be 5 of them. And we do also have Gorbad, who is the Great Leader, giving +10/+10, and also Orcs are the best, so that's a really nice buff. Orcs are the best is the one you want to use on an Orc Boarboy Biggin. It gives them a huge stat buff and huge damage output, which really helps them win anti-large fights. So quite nice. Ruggleeds, Armored Orcs, and Basic Archers, and just basically armor checking his opponent with very elite infantry. So looking at the army here of Harrison going to be rocking Ungor Raiders, some Slangors, and looks like it is going to be Malagor with Flock of Doom spam, as well as the Bloodtreat Chimera, which is just kind of an OP monster in general. They're very, very strong. So yeah, that's basically it. In the woods, we do have some Centaurs, and as far as this army goes, it's pretty well-rounded. You got the Spheres to deal with the Squigs and Trolls, Ungor Raiders to poke down bigger threats as well, and Slangors for infantry clear, with Flock of Doom and breath attacks from the Chimera to take down elite infantry. So not bad at all. So the battle is on, ladies and gentlemen, and the army is going to be advancing up towards Objective Uno. We do see the archers lurking in the back. It's so funny when you look at these guys from like outer space, they look so haggard. It looks like they're holding like hockey sticks, but when you zoom in, obviously you get better detail from a distance. Same thing with the Black Orcs with the Grey Weapons. They look really funny from far away. So Flock of Doom there, not a bad one. It hits a Black Orc and Ruggleeds Armored Orc, so a worthy target, as we do get some Broken Tusk Mob boys coming in here. And some Black Orcs are going to be setting up in the tree line here to decide if they need to bounce back and help secure Objective 2. Gorbad eating some arrows to the face. He does have 100 armor, but even still, you don't want to be eating those arrow shots if you can avoid it. And the old Ruggleeds Armored Orcs going to be poking back the Ungor Raiders, so those bad boys are going to be retreating while we do see the Black Orcs setting up shop on Objective number 1. Over here, Bloodtreat Chimera is going to be lurking, and the Black Orcs are now coming in for reinforcements. So this man actually, I think, has like 5 or 6 on the field. No, 5. Yeah, those ones were hiding in the tree in the beginning. And Dirk and Squigs, not a bad choice. They will be able to do well against the Raiders, as well as Slangors. A bit risky, though, because Centaurs do bully the Squig Riders pretty badly. So here we do have the Black Orcs chilling out on the point, silver shields as well as 110 armor. They're not going to care too much about these Ungor Raiders. I mean, the damage certainly can add up, but it's decent for the Orcs. They are going to be getting their points here, and on the side we do see the Squig Hoppers coming in after the Archers. And look at this, we do get the Black Orcs in the woods battling against the Chimera as well as the Slangors. And the Chimera is a huge AP monster, but it looks like reinforcements going to be coming in from the Broken Tusk Mob, pushing back the Chimera right there, while Ruggleeds Armored Orcs continue trading. And probably should shoot into the Raiders. I think trying to target Malagor is a big micro mistake. Not a micro mistake, but a decision-making mistake coming in here from Toxic Cow. I mean, because they could have had an Ungor Raider basically dead at this point, whereas they've done a little bit of damage against Malagor, who doesn't really even care about the arrows. Now, unfortunately for old Cows here, he does charge in with his Squigs and gets ambushed by the Spears, and then the Centaurs are able to run them down, and another Squig Hopper here is potentially going to be paying the Troll Toll. We'll have to see how it works out. Orc Boarboy's lurking. Could get a nice little charge in there as the Spears are a little bit out of position. There's an opening there. However, probably not worth it as the Chimera is setting up for a breath attack. So it looks like Harrison going to be coming around the flank and trying to get a breath attack. Ideally, for him, probably Ruggleeds or some of the Black Orcs. So he is going to be getting one. It does. Oh my god, it hit the tree! Every single bit of that fire basically hit the tree line. That's very lucky for the Black Orcs. And here comes the bacon. Now, these guys are anti-large, obviously, but good enough stats that they can do some shock damage on the charge against like a really low tier infantry unit. But Boarboy Biggins are really like a unit that indexes into what they're meant to do. They're going to be not super good at killing these type of units, right? Like if you sent an 1100 gold like Knight of the Blazing Sun or whatever the hell it is, at that price point into an Ungor Raider, it'd be dead in a couple seconds. But with a Broken Tusk Mob, not so much. So Blorks are just hanging out, absorbing those shots and, draining all the ammunition off the Ungor Raiders. And I'm sure he's not unhappy to do that. As the Black Orcs going to be cruising up for a bruising, we do see the objectives belonging to the Greenskins. In a way, you maybe didn't need to advance here. But, you know, I think it might not be a terrible... Although advancing deep into the lines here is risky because Beastmen could start calling out some, you know, anti-armor and really just punish you for overextending. So a bit of a tricky decision, but it looks like they are making a push here. Savage Orcs and Black Orcs going to be getting Flock of Doomed, while the Black Orcs here are going to be fighting the Slangors, and it's going to be time. The Slangors going to get beaten down really badly. And sure, they're quite good against infantry and are insanely fast. Their speed right now is 62. The Black Orcs just, with 110 armor and their melee defense, not really going to care about that. So value trading of the battlefield's quite even at this point. We do see big man Gorbad just kind of running back and forth and giving, shouting orders to his people. And did we actually see some Slangors ambushing? No, they just came from the front. I thought they might have gone around the side. And here we have the big old Chimera getting ready to maybe do another breath attack. Definitely should get these two archer units to start shooting at the Chimera right now. And or shooting at the Slangors. A couple of things like that would be quite big. So back in the main line fighting, Black Orcs going to be fighting with the Gorbad. And the Wah going down here in the valley. All is good, or I should say the island. And Gorbad is getting the benefit of the Wah, as are all the Greenskins. And they are able to push these bad boys back. So very nice fight there. While the Black Orcs are going to continue fighting against the Slangors. We got some Savage Orcs moving up, and the Archers are back online, trying to keep track with the Chimera, but that thing is very slippery and tough to deal with. So Blorks here doing all right, but being worn down by the Centaurs with throwing axes and the perpetual Flock of Dooms. We do get more Centaurs coming in here, and the Greenskins might be in a situation where they need to pull back and defend Objective 2. I feel like they're doing fine over here. Like, this fight is decent, although Gorbad back here is a bit of a risky one. He could get surrounded by Centaurs and then maybe killed by, like, the Chimera. We'll see if he gets punished for it. Moving in are River Trolls. River Trolls are a little bit weak to archer fire. They have no missile mitigation, only a 40 armor. Although we don't know if Harrison has noticed this. If Harrison hasn't noticed the River Trolls here, they might be able to thrive and do well. Slangor is getting beaten down, while the Bloodtree Chimera is in the back just being a menace, bouncing between the two archer units, and more Boar Boys on their way out, teaming up with the remnants of the Black Orcs. And there are some Black Orcs here. Doom and Darkness on them. Interesting. So 21 leadership. I don't really know if you're going to be able to do much with that. Black Orcs have pretty high base leadership at 72, which is pretty good, especially for Greenskins. I mean, not, you know, like compared to like Elvish Elite Infantry or anything like that, but having the ITP on them is pretty damn good. So they don't really care about the Doom and Darkness. It's going to last a little bit longer, but they are stabilizing here. Orc Boar Boy Biggins able to catch some Centaurs on the outside, which is a very, very good fight for those bad boys. So those Centaurs are going to get folded up. The 85 armor and the anti-large of the Boar Boys are just putting in some heavy work. But once again, another very good Flock of Doom. And yeah, kind of looking like the Greenskins are a little bit ahead this game. Although old Gorbad, just like we talked about, overextended, got punished a little bit by the Minotaurs with Grey Weapons. So they are going to be chasing back Gorbad. And Savage Orcs and Black Orcs are going to be reforming the lines, while the Manticore continues to be, or Chimera, continues to be an extremely obnoxious monster. It's probably going to land in the back and drop a heal. Is he going down to the ground? River Trolls were being used to screen it out. And oh man, this thing even does fire damage, right? Because it has a dragon head. I remember the scene in the Gotrek and Felix books when Gotrek battles a Chimera in Araby when they're in prison. Pretty fun scene. I think it's a short story. So back on the point, Greenskins holding it, man. The armored Black Orcs really just being raid bosses, and we do actually see a triple cap in play. So right now, Harrison is on the back foot, but that's not to say he's not going to be able to come back. You know, the damage meter doesn't often track Flock of Doom and magic correctly, so you really have to be keeping tabs on that. We do see Minotaurs with Grey Weapons coming out, which will be pretty good against the Boar Boys, but Boar Boys will also be good against them. Ungor Raiders here getting broken, and overall, Greenskins look to be in a commanding position, but one thing that we're not really taking into account yet is the fact that there are two Minotaurs with Grey Weapons on the battlefield, and that could create a bit of a Death Star with the Chimera. So if you get both Minotaurs to team up with the Bloodtree Chimera, it's going to be a really nasty, terror-causing Death Star that the Greenskins may struggle to deal with. So if I just had to speculate on a potential comeback option for the Beastmen, that would be it. Doom and Darkness activated, but the Wog is going to be going down, giving him the ITP, which is going to be really good, the Insane to Psychology Posse. Black Orcs here, holding it down, the ITP incredibly clutch, but it does look like the Beastmen are in the process of starting to flip this objective back. Centaurs, Malagor getting down there, but they don't really have much capture weight, and we do see Gorbad having to run from the two Minotaurs here. Doom and Darkness able to break a couple units, but is it worth going for the triple cap in this situation? Part of me thinks piling everything towards Objective 3 may be a mistake, and just kind of like hunkering down over here and doing a little bit of a delay tactic here and falling back and playing on your back foot. And I wonder if he's going to do that. We got the Boar Boy Biggins coming in for a rear charge. The Wog is going, and here comes them Hogs. So the Hog Rider's going to get in, and they're going to get a nice rear charge into the Minotaurs with Grey Weapons. So how's it looking? Not too much damage. River Trolls here are going to be debuffing their stats. A really good Flock of Doom coming in from Harrison once again. Going to be dropping the base on all these units. And now, yeah, the Beastmen are kind of threatening this point. And those Minotaurs with great weapons are really trying to put this game on their back. Greenskins need to get some sustainable combat here on this objective. If Gorbad gets broken, it's going to be really, really bad. So River Troll Hag is coming. Gorbad is squealing and running on his pig here. And it looks like the Greenskin army does get stifled a little bit over here. So they do get kind of inundated in combat. Savage Orcs going to be moving in. Black Orcs will actually do reasonably well against Minotaurs with great weapons because they are not really good at clearing infantry. They only have 35 armor, so there's a couple things kind of going against them here, while more Boar Boy Biggins going to be engaging against the throwing axes, but I assume they're just going to get kited and punished. On the back point still belongs to the Greenskins, and it looks like they're going for the kill on Gorbad, which is the game-winning play for Harrison if he can get it done. But the Savage Orcs will break the advance of these guys a little bit, but oh man, those cows are on a mission. Yeah, they kind of just got trampled over. I mean, it makes sense. Minotaurs are just giant bulls, so they're going to have some good momentum here. Mither activated from the Hag, and is Gorbad going to get escorted? The Greenskins really need to call in a Boar Boy or something here. They might be able to get one and save him, but he looks like he's going off the battlefield, which is going to be quite massive. Now, looking at the current points, Greenskins are very far ahead, sitting close to 1,200, and still trying to steal this objective. The back objective is probably going to be stabilized by the Hag, but you're going to see negative 16 leadership on the entire Greenskin army. Is going to be brutal. But Black Orcs are such high leadership units, they don't care that much. These ones, like, late in the game, probably, tired, exhausted, they're winded, actually. Still going to be in all right shape, and we'll be able to hold this objective, most likely. All right, here we have the Hag battling the River Troll, or the River Troll Hag battling the Ungors right there. Spirit Leech going down on Malagor, while the Savage Orc Air Boys are going to get punished by the Minotaurs. But this is going to be a close game. This is definitely going to come down to a really, really tight triple cap. If it is a victory for the Beastmen. They're going to need to just press hard, and I think the Greenskins are going to rely on their elite Black Orcs and Savage Orcs to try and hold on to the back objective here. So, Ungor Raiders getting bashed by the Savage Orcs. We do see the giant River Troll Hag, the Lunch Lady, everybody's favorite Lunch Lady. I have vivid memories of the dreaded Lunch Ladies, who were usually very nice. Serving Sloppy Joes, back in the day. You guys remember that? Any other 90s kids getting the dreaded Sloppy Joes? Those were some good times. But yeah, she's got the Sloppy Joes and her sack of meat right there and is serving all the enemies. So, back objective still held, 1,300 points. Right here, the Greenskins are doing an excellent job holding on to this. A couple Squig Hoppers going to move into the spears. And even though they're very flimsy with only 20 melee defense, if they get that Alpha Strike and break the Ungor spears here, that's going to be pretty big. Value trading's close, but definitely favoring Beastmen. And here we do see the Hag trying to hold it down, but looks like this is not going to be where they make their final stand. No. Spirit Leech on top of Malagor. Not a bad idea. Granted, would it be better on the Minotaurs? I don't know. Malagor just kind of, if you can get a pick on him, it's pretty big. But this is kind of the big bastion of strength here for the Greenskins, and it's rapidly faltering. 1,400 points approaching. Boar Boy Biggin's going to be coming in, but the Beastmen are now getting a lot of weight, and this is where the Slangor is so freaking good. This thing has freaking how much speed right now? Yeah, 56 movement speed. Absolutely nuts. So them getting up to that objective is going to be brutal. So the Hag is going to want to maybe run around, take a little circular route here. Good charge from the Boar Boy Biggins. I mean, fighting exactly what they want to be fighting, but are heavily outgunned. We got Minotaurs, Centaurs, Chimera, as well as a Legendary Lord there, who, of course, are going to be a menace. Good Buna. Very, very good Buna, but are you going to be able to get there to do anything to mitigate that? Over here, we do see this objective being held by the Blorks. These are all expendable units, so they have very pitiful capture weight. Where are the Greenskins going to be going next? It looks like they're going to be taking their Wolf Riders and zipping over to this point, which is not a bad idea, but is it too little too late? I don't know if they're going to be able to get there. It looks like they're actually just trying to get around the formation here. So currently the Beastmen do have good capture weight, but if those Savage Orcs make it back, actually, that's actually 8 capture weight plus the Savage Orcs on the other side. Oh my god, he flips it! Oh my god, is he going to actually get this? Toxic Cows is going to clutch it here in the last second, it looks like. We only got 5 seconds left. Wow, the 2 heroic Moonhowler or Goblin Wolf Riders, not Moonhowlers, able to get it for the Crooked Moon Wog. Yeah, man. So that was a fun game. Cool seeing the meta being dynamic enough that like mass elite infantry builds can work. Granted, Greenskins have always been kind of good at that because their elite infantry are a little bit on the cheaper side and they're very cost effective. Black Orcs are great. But I love seeing that. Yeah, a big blunder obviously from your boy Gorbad, but the Black Orcs were freaking awesome. Man, look at the value. 1,200, only 500 on that one, but that one 500 there, 900 there, and then 1,400 on this one. So they probably paid for themselves if you average them out across the board. Ruggled's Armored Orcs did great as always. The River Troll Hags are quite useful, and yeah, Boar Boys did their thing. So yeah, the triple cap ended up paying off. It was a bold strategy, Cotton, and it did work out for him. Chimera, 1,500, didn't quite pay for itself. But yeah, everything else, Raiders did fine. Flock of Doom is usually pretty good. Only 1,000 value in that, but I'm sure next time, if Harrison had had Butchers of Kalkengard, I think he would have won that game. Because the Butchers of Kalkengard are so good against like all this stuff, and they cause terror too, which is just so nasty. Yeah, would have been very, very strong. GG, well played, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. See you around, and thank you to Harrison and Toxic Cow for the replay, and also shout out to our boy Harrison for sending in a loss. Adios, my friends. Dovi Zenya, and that is it for tonight.